How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send signs? It could be through infinite ways. Everyone is different. But just know that Allah knows how to communicate with you. But there are common signs that He does with a lot of us. So for example, you're driving, you look down, you look just randomly, and you see some sign that is saying something very specific to your dua. That is a sign. You open Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. You see a message that is very specific to your dua, and it just popped right in your face. That is a sign. So there is many ways. Or you have a decision, but you're very doubtful. You really don't know. You're just confused. I don't know what choice to go with. You pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then you made the decision. You found yourself suddenly at peace with whatever choice you chose. That is a sign. So there is many ways that He sends a sign. Now, of course, the question that a lot of us ask, how do I know it is a sign? And it's not, and I hate that word, coincidence. Look, there is no such thing as coincidence. That is a word that is by kuffar. You know, non-believers have invented that word. Something, because coincidence means something that's random, right? But everything is predetermined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how can it be random? There is no coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. And the funny thing is, that's also a quote from kuffar. Everything happens for a reason, right? Exactly. So there's no such thing as a coincidence. Okay, well, how do I know? Not a coincidence, okay, but how do I know that this is in fact Allah communicating with me? This is a sign. Did it change you? Did it help you? Did it make you at peace? Yes? Then it's a sign. There also needs to be yaqeen, of course. Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَنَا عَنْدِ ظَنَّ عَبْدِي بِي فَيَظُنَّ بِمَا يَشَاءُ. Allah is saying, I am whatever you picture me to be. So if you picture me to be good with you, I am good with you. If you picture me to be evil, then to you I will be evil. Subhanallah. So if you have yaqeen and not just faith, complete trust, yaqeen, the highest level of trust to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then of course He's going to keep giving you signs because you believe that He will give you signs. He will give you signs. You believe He will answer your dua. He will answer your dua. You believe He will answer anyone's dua. He will answer their dua. Yaqeen is very important, guys. But can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use a human being like us as a sign to someone else? Yes, He can. Remember, He knows how to communicate with you specifically. So if He knows, for example, you're not going to believe the Facebook thing, the Instagram thing, because I have heard it many times. In fact, I've actually heard some shiyukh that actually say Allah doesn't send signs. Those are just delusions, whatever. No, you think you saw a sign on Facebook, the message specific to your dua. No, that's nothing, that's not a sign, whatever. No, it is a sign. It is 100% a sign. So yes, He can send a human being to someone else. For example, if He finds to you, if you find a message on Facebook specific to your dua, you're not going to believe it. If you find a sign when you're driving down the road, you're not going to believe it. Or the hardest one actually, which is making you at peace with the decision, and you just believe, no, that's not a sign. I'm still confused. I don't know what decision to make. You're not going to believe it. So what does He do? He sends someone else that has signs sent to them, and so they have experience with that, and they tell you, this is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you believe. Subhanallah. Now, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send signs to everyone? No. He sends signs to specific servants. Why? Well, that comes back to His wisdom, number one. And number two, because most of us, unfortunately, believe in the whole thing I just told you, the coincidence thing, you know, because Allah knows if you look at Facebook and you see a message specific to your dua, that means nothing. It's just a message, coincidence. No, it is a sign. And yes, the servants that have a lot of signs sent to them know that their tests are going to be much more severe compared to other servants. Because signs, in a way, guys, are basically almost like Allah's telling you the future in a way. Because He's telling you, for example, be patient. A lot of us see that sign. Be patient. When you pray to Him and you find a message specific to you, right, that says something like Azbur. Yeah, be patient. Then no, that means there's going to be a test that tests your patience. So in a way, Allah almost told you the future. Well, not the, you know what I mean. He told you something that is coming. There we go. By the way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can actually send you what I consider a warning sign. Meaning, He actually warns you of a test that is coming because it is so difficult, and He's telling you to be patient. That happens when He prefers you and loves you so much and tests you a lot. And yes, I'm talking from experience, obviously. So, take that as you will. So I consider those to be warning signs, as I said. And of course, you have very powerful signs, which are what? Visions. Visions in your sleep. Yes, also from experience. He gives you visions in your sleep of something that is going to happen because the test is going to be so difficult. So He already prepares you and tells you, this is going to happen. Like He did with Prophet Yusuf, remember? And it took 40 years or maybe more for that vision of his, remember, to happen. When he saw the sun and the moon praying to him, remember? And after those 40 years, and he was the king of Egypt, he only told his father and he did not tell anyone else about the vision. And he said what at the end? That was my vision, father. That was the vision that I had from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? By the way, that is a hadith. There's actually a hadith about that. The closest thing to prophethood, I don't remember the verbatim, the hadith, but the meaning of it. You can find it yourself. The closest thing to prophethood in our ummah is visions. Ru'ya or ru'ya, which is the singular term. Subhanallah. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a sign, believe that sign, because know that most of the time, if He tells you something is going to happen, do you know what He's going to test you with? He's actually going to do the opposite of what He told you is going to happen, to test you. Subhanallah. So in other words, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a certain piece of information about something that's going to happen, it's a dangerous piece of information that you know. Just like with Prophet Yaqub, he knew his son was going to come back. If He does that with you, again, speaking from experience, okay? This is my opinion. If He does that with you, He's going to test you by completely making a 180 over your dua in the opposite direction. And what you have to do is believe that sign if it means holding on for dear life to it. Subhanallah. And then He's going to immediately, just all of a sudden, reverse it. When He sees, of course, that you've been patient. We talked about that kind of, but not very detailed in our dua video. Remember how Allah answers your dua, makes it go in the opposite direction, that kind of thing, as a test. That usually happens by Allah giving you a sign first that something's going to happen. And again, remember, the sign could be just you. You suddenly being very at peace. You're just so sure Allah's going to answer my dua. Even though it's going in the opposite direction. I don't know why, but I still believe He's going to answer me. That is a sign. So believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends signs, guys. Don't believe the people that tell you that He doesn't send signs. He sends signs. He communicates with you. Just not directly, obviously. Communicates from behind a curtain, let's just say that. From behind a curtain, indirectly communicates with you. Okay?